the question has been boiling for quite some time. It came up as a result of listening through a series of audio histories that you did with a number of figures, scoring Paris Lamond, Bob Carr, Gerd Stern, and a number of influential figures, you'd say, countercultural, I guess you'd call them, during the 60s. And there's this recurrent theme that runs through that, this idea of, or this ideal of conscious mediumship. And in a sense, I got the feeling that it's something that McLuhan's been playing with the whole time, but he never brings it to the surface. And so I wanted to chart out this area of my ignorance and see what comes up. I guess from my own background and perspective, there's always an acknowledgement of some transcendental just over the fringe, but it's how you talk about it, how do you think about it, and I was hoping that you could shed some light on this topic, Bob.
Okay, the other person you didn't name, important figure on the very, very margins, David Eugene Worcester, he was the one who gave me the phrase. And I met him in the late 60s. He was in Seattle, and he was channeling something called cosmic awareness. And either in an interview I read done with him around that time, or in conversations with him, I can't remember, he was talking about Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti, not U.G. Krishnamurti, the Manipulan satirist version of Jiddu Krishnamurti. Jiddu Krishnamurti, David got from him a sense of moving into trance was not the be-all and end-all. That the idea was to be a conscious medium, and he thought Krishnamurti represented that. And it wasn't until after Krishnamurti died in 1986 a biography or two came out, and the author was a close friend of his, and Krishnamurti once confided to her that he did go into some kind of trance state just before he would, when he was alone, just before he'd go and speak, some kind of thing, but he never wanted to talk about it, and he didn't want to emphasize it, but there was some kind of, who knows what you call it, auto-suggestion, whatever, and so he touched on what's called the psychic, yet he always put that down in his talks. So I think that contradiction, Dave Worcester didn't know, as far as I know, whether Krishnamurti went into trance a little bit before his talks. Maybe Dave did know it, but Dave, as a medium himself, appreciated Krishnamurti, pointing to that as not the end goal of his situation, but to a kind of conscious mediumship, which is what Krishnamurti pointed to, though I don't think Krishnamurti ever said that phrase. So I got the phrase or concept from Dave Worcester, and we took classes in the late 60s and early 1970 leading towards some kind of development, towards, I don't know, maybe become a medium for cosmic awareness, and this was courses laid out by Cosmic Awareness. Now the interesting thing is that Dave Worcester, very good student of Krishnamurti, didn't want to be a medium, but still allowed himself to have this cosmic awareness come through, which wasn't an entity, or I don't know, it was just the force of the universe, much like what Ion calls itself an event, or a non-physical event, or just non-physical. So back to Worcester, it was he who made me think about it. Now at the time, I was certainly aware of McLuhan, and he's saying the meaning is the message, and many other statements, but McLuhan always said he didn't have a theory of consciousness. He just dealt with percepts. So you might recall, as he says in, I think, the Gerald Stern interview in McLuhan Hot and Cool, I don't have a theory of consciousness. And I found that very interesting because I always thought he was talking about consciousness, or whatever I thought consciousness was, collective or personal, in his excursions. Also, he one or two times said that a medium creates a kind of hypnosis. So Dave Worcester used to point out that Ralph Doobie, the first channel medium expression of cosmic awareness, was hypnotized into that state. So you've got hypnosis, suggestion, Dave Worcester not for hypnosis, trying to be conscious medium. Then you have what is the environmental medium as McLuhan laid out? It is a collective hypnosis inside the effect of the printing press or the effect of television. So I think that was the range of parameters that I would think about as I wondered what conscious mediumship could refer to. So does that help to give you a basic framework to figure out what it is?